Hello there, and welcome back to Grey Skies. I'm about to score this goal. Yeah! Marvellous. Have you got anything to add to that deck?
I haven't, no. Except you're dawdling.
It bounced out. I can give it another go. Let's try
Also,
from this angle.
What's with the grass?
Yeah. Oh, whoops. No. And it's gone miles off. No, it's rolling down a nearby hill. It looks a bit mossy, doesn't it?
Yeah, like,
Bit on the mossy
how
side
old? Like, how old is this been going on? Like, how long? I mean, because this has got to be unkept for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen like areas that used to be grass that are now like, overgrown with like moss and leaves and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It could be that sort of vibe that we're going for. I mean, it is like quite wooded around as well.
Also, how can you push that bin? There's literally logs in the way.
Cabin key. So I don't need to climb on top of this bin. Peak waste. That's when your peak's too high.
That car's seen better days.
Look in here, shall we? Car, you say?
Yeah, there was a car on the side.
Oh yeah, so there was. Oh aye, it has, hasn't it? Still got the old leather seats in there though. Nice for a spot of sitting.
What else do you do on seats?
Well, that's a very long and
Well, you either sit on them or you lay on them. Anything that you would do whilst whilst you're doing that is still a part of the first two things.
This is my bookshelf. I'm keeping it.
You're not allowed.
I will do whatever I damn well please. Ooh, tools. No, what I can do with here. It'd be really handy if I could take like that spade or that axe with me.
How?
1 EMP. Jason, I've been working a while on this EMP. I think if we can get close to one of those things, we might be able to disrupt its defences long enough to even take one down. I'm going out today to test it. You should do the same and we'll regroup here later tonight. Is this the return of Jason Straw Hat that we've been eagerly anticipating?
Why would the guy from Monster Surely you can just rock up with some monsters.
Feed him that ball.
Jesus.
Okie doke. Oh dear, that's a close-up, isn't it? Did we get its good side?
Hmm? I think there's only got one side.
It's a mechanical sounding gurgling noise, isn't it? What do you feel about mechanical gurgles, deck?
Yeah?
Here I am. Rocked me like a hurricane. Oh dear, I appear to have been restrained in some manner.
You done got.
I don't got. Break stuff. Wow. Oh wait, hold on. Got rocks everywhere, haven't I? I think it was implied that I should be using the shocker.
Yeah, I was thinking that. or the explosive.
Yeah.
That did nothing. What's that
Not
thing on
go
the floor?
according to plan. Thing on the floor. Whereabouts?
Behind you.
Oh, more shockers.
Oh.
I'm meant to be shocking something.
It'll probably be orange, won't it?
Yeah. Look at that. Control panel or something? Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Oh no, it's got a tummy ache.
Yeah. Who's a poor tripod? Is there any more like electrical screens like that I can break?
I don't know, what about...
That'll do it. Hotels? What do we think, Nick?
What about that
How about them up there?
panel in front of you?
This one.
Yeah.
Lad.
Missed.
Awful dark in here. Ooh. I think we're back in beautiful Castleton.
Yes, beautiful.
Oh, mate, it's lovely, and when weather gets a bit nicer, I think I might go for some walks round.
As
around
long as
that
it don't
neck of
look
the
like
woods.
that.
It's lovely. Oh, I know. That's not a pleasant aesthetic when you just want to go for a a nice pint and a walk, is it? Oh, the tripod's having a bad time. Is that the widely like accepted term for them? Tripods, I reckon.
I assume so.
Yeah.
Oh look, and she survived that too.
Mate, I have been so lucky with surviving things lately. Can't go on. Can't run. Too injured.
Crawl.
Oh wow, look at all this. Look at that grit bin. Ah, that takes me back to home.
But why is there so much red crap everywhere?
Martian brain material? Sure, Paul. Oh, that's where we met. What's his chops who took us into cave?
Yeah. But all she's done
Every,
is going
every
a
time I
massive
try and
circle.
run. Including going to Dover and back. Quite a trip. Wow, bicycle.
You enjoying looking at things, Rich?
That view.
Yeah, some hills and background and everything's covered in garbage.
Look at that building. Yeah, that's a nice solid stone construction, that.
Ah, yeah, with that open roof.
Yeah, you know, let's so much light in, pal.
And
Like having a
rain.
sun. It's like having a sunroom.
Sunroom.
Yeah. Doesn't really work in England, sunrooms, do they?
It would never work in England. You know why? 'Cause it's 99% rain. We get like
Very
3
true.
days a year where it's sunny, and then everyone complains if it's longer than that.
Tell you what, it's been quite warm today, I think. Unseasonably warm for the time of year, I'd say.
Well, I don't know. I didn't go outside.
I went to the shop for, you know, essentials. And then went to a petrol station.
Fair. I mean, why not?
I'm sorry if you're expecting me to have more to say there. That's,
I thought you'd actually have an interesting story. It was not an interesting story. It was just a story.
I don't think I've ever had an interesting story, pal.
No, you haven't. But there's always a first for everything.
Look at that smiling pig.
Go on. Go on.
When was the last time you saw a BT phone box, pal? I can't remember the last time I saw one. I think did they take them all out?
Probably because they all get vandalised.
Yeah, they do. They've or maybe they're just there and I just don't see him because I'm so used to him.
No, I think they did take them, like... Well, no, there's still a few round. But they... but they're not usable because people used to, like, wipe their arse on it and stuff. Like, with their phone and stuff like that, and used to take the transceiver for some reason. For no reason at all, it's just like, okay, they've took the transceiver of the phone. So you can't actually use it as a phone.
Bloody ne'er-do-wells.
And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, well, if you've had a crash and your phone is broken in the crash and there's nobody else around, what are you going to do?
Rely on the kindness of a stranger. Go back at the lead mill.
Yeah, but if there's nobody around, you know, it's one of those things. It's like, how do you expect to be able to do anything when the phones in the phone booth are broken, your phone's broken, and, you know, for all you know, you could be, you know, something horrible might be happening.
Yeah, middle of nowhere. Something horrible, like being involved in some sort of alien invasion or something like that.
Well,
Hey, there's a
the guy
waving
from
man
earlier.
over there. Is that the guy what led us into the cave?
I think so.
What are the odds? My old mate. How in God's good grace did you survive that? What did you do? How?
I'm so tired. Is there somewhere safe we can wait this out?
Ah, you should have stayed in the first place. Follow me. Ugh. Don't get too close, mind. End of the world, and I have to see it through with a cold.
Climbing on that plane to take me away.
Okay. So,
Credits.
end of game review time. What were your thoughts, Rich?
My thoughts are it was, you know, done by basically two guys. So I think they've done a bang up job.
Well, that's not really a review, that's more of a speculation.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like the atmosphere of it was good. Attention to detail, obviously. I loved. I really liked the stealth mechanics, which is weird for me to say, because you know how I feel about stealth in general.
Personally, I would like cutscenes, or character prompts, or maybe a little bit more dialogue.
Yeah, like it would be nicer if it had that like little bit, a little bit more like varnish.
Well, the story was mostly based off of basically the phones scattered around the game, but it never really gave any concept for the character, like what their drive is to go to said places.
Yeah. Other than we seem to be incredibly lucky at surviving, like near-death experiences.
Yeah, and there was nothing really to relate to the character. It was just a case of you are this character and they are going.
Yeah.
And that's it. There was no like going, oh yeah, you relate to this character like because of, you know. And I'm going to use a AAA title comparative here. But it's like how everybody related to Ellie in The Last of Us is what you want in the sort of like game universe of trying to or at least trying to achieve that, like some sort of aspiration towards that, you know, of just having like, and I know that's a AAA title, so it's a case of that's kind of expected that's going to be quite a feat.
Yeah.
But it's a case of as long as you're trying to do that, you know, it shows that you're trying to give like the attention to detail was amazing in this.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was
definitely.
very, very detailed, and it was very well done for the terms of detail. The story, however, although
could do with more exposition, is what you're saying.
it could be doing more detail in the story, because it's a case of the area was nice. It was nice to look at. They got everything in that sort of system right. It's just a case of if you were trying to say, like I think there's only like a certain amount of dialogue, and past that there's no storytelling.
Yeah.
So there's no like, say if you go, oh, there's a phone there, but I'm gonna miss it. You would literally, there is no story. Then you are just a woman getting from point to point for no actual reason.
Yeah, but I suppose that could bear, you know, like if something like this were to happen, and you know, if you just survived a plane crash, you are going to wander around and be just incredibly confused.
True, but it's a case of you'd want to kind of attempt to portray that.
Yeah.
Whereas there was no real confusion. It was just a woman who wandered to a farm, drove the car from the farm, somehow ended up in Castleton, then from Castleton somehow ended up in Dover, and then somehow ended back in Castleton. And it was like,
Dover.
And it was like, oh, okay, well, she's literally gone from one place to a completely different place and back again. And there's no sort of real telling of how, you know?
Yeah.
And it's or a case of why.
You know, it
like,
sort of went into the sores in like a stately hotel in Castleton and came out of the sores in Dover.
Yeah. Like, there are things that can be improved, and some of those are like some really like the low level stuff is the running, because I feel like it's a bit stiff.
Yeah.
Like this is like really, really low stuff that I'm not really fussed about, but it's a case of could be improved in general at certain points. And if they did that, I'd be like, oh, that's nice that they've done that, you know.
Yeah.
So it would be the running, because it feels a bit stiff and rigid, like if you were moving like a mannequin and they were running, sort of thing.
Yeah. So it could be smoothed out a little.
Yeah. The whole being able to grab stuff through walls, because although it benefited you, I don't think that's how they intended.
Not intentional.
Yeah. And the bug that we had, which meant you couldn't go through that
In the
door.
hotel. Yeah.
However, this, I feel like it had less bugs well, it had a lot less bugs than Remothered, which is
Especially Broken Porcelain, which we
Yeah.
played recently, I believe.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so it's a case of that's like I'm really glad they really like there was virtually no bugs, and I'm happy about that in the game. So I'm gonna give it like a 4
Yeah.
out of 10 overall, and the only like and that's 5 for story and 5 for actual, the actual general movement and quality of the game,
Oh yeah.
like the actual physics and so on. Like they lose a point out of the game side of things because the movements are a little bit stiff, and for some reason she can kick massive pieces of ceiling and be fine. And there's a few
Right,
minor
super hinged
bugs.
legs.
Yeah, there's a few minor bugs. However, they lose a lot in terms of the way that the story is told, because
Yeah.
it's a little bit lacking, as in it feels like there almost is no story. It was kind of like, it feels like it's just to show off what they can do, which is great because it shows off they can do a lot, but it doesn't, like, the story doesn't come through. It's just told by things that you find around the map, and I feel like the story should be told directly, and then additional lore should be told throughout the things that you find on the map. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But it's not. It's it's a start.
Yeah, and I feel like they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's a good start. Like if they worked on the story, and really like gave it as much detail as they did the rest of the world that they did.
Like the world crafting, I feel, was, pretty phenomenal. Like it is an accurate, like looking at it visually, it's a pretty accurate representation of what it's like, in the Peak District.
Yeah.
And I'm a man that appreciates details.
Yeah.
And things like, well, obviously it's set in England. English plug sockets. Bits and pieces that look to give that feeling of familiarity. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like there is a high level of detail in the world that they have developed.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish there was the same level of detail on the story, and that's a big thing, because it's a case of, like, it wouldn't be so bad if they hadn't put a lot of detail into the world itself. That makes any sense? Like, if there wasn't that level of detail in the world, I wouldn't be as bothered about
holding it to such a high standard.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like because they've got one that's really well done, why isn't the other? And it kind of shows that level of disparity, which is a shame. And it goes, we've done loads with this.
Nice word.
It's like, we've done loads with this, but we missed out on this. And it's kind of like, it kind of creates a massive chasm of difference. And I know that everybody holds games to like AAA title standards, but let's face it, if it's an indie game or a not known company, they either should be doing one of two things. They should be putting in a lot of effort and trying to showcase their game and go, look, this is what we have done, this is what we can do, this is how good we are. And you're playing these games free. Like, I'm not going to name any companies or name any games, but there are a lot of game companies out there that do massively buggy games and then release them, and it's like everybody loves it, and it's like, why? Because it's a steaming bag of trash. And if you compared it to any other game series ever, you'd be like, oh yeah, that is actually really bad. I'd not noticed that before. But because it's a AAA title, we ignore it. but the indie ones have to work much harder to get that rep. And I feel like that everybody holds them against this whole, oh yeah, because they're an indie title, they have to do this amazing stuff. No, if you're starting, you'll get there. And it's a start.
Yeah, that's it. And I feel like this is a very good start.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to be negative about it because it's a case of you can rag on a game and that's really easy. But but giving good and bad points to it in a constructive way is a lot better. And I feel like this is a good start for a company to try to make better games in future. And as long as they learn from this and go, right, well, this is what people like, this is what people didn't like, so let's see if we can improve these things. It's a good start. And if any AAA title company did that, we would have impeccable games instead of buggy, broken pieces of trash that we have that on a day one get like a 50 gig patch.
Unity. Sorry. I've got a terrible cold on me, Paul.
And it's one of those things. Or have games that are ridiculously massive. Like, for example, and it's not a shit on the company that did it. It's just a case of it's not for like it's a case of it puts really bad pressure on the consumer, and that's, for example, Call of Duty Warzone. Warzone itself on its own was over 100 gig, and that's the multiplayer
it's
section.
Massive, isn't it? With the update files and such like.
Yeah, and I think it ended up like the whole game, single player and multiplayer and Warzone, ended up somewhere in the region of 200 to 250 gig. And it's like,
when you've got consoles out there that have got like a
200 gig
hard drive.
Yeah.
That's you physically can't play it.
Yeah, you put one game on.
It's so big.
Because they don't put compression on, because it's just a case of like, I don't care, and that's it. Because people buy it anyway, and that's it. And as long as if they took the step in the right direction and we went, yeah, this is a great game, but please compress the file sizes, then people would buy it more. Because imagine how long that takes somebody to download.
I don't know.
So,
my word, it's phenomenal.
But yeah,
so Deck's given a fair, balanced review of the game, and now for my review.
Well, you say fair and balanced. I've given it a fair and balanced review, but I am giving it 4 out of 10, which is 4 for the game and 0 for story, because there basically is no story. So,
as you said, you're splitting that in two, with being the sort of narrative storytelling aspect being out of 5 on one side of it, and on the other side the look, feel, graphics, visuals, that sort of thing, music, of course. That being on the other side of it. So for the, latter of those two, you're giving it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
And for the narrative side of it, you're giving it, sadly, a 0.
Yeah, because it's a case of, it's not, like, the story isn't told to you. It's kind of assumed. And you can't assume a story. Because that's like if I pointed at a cloak, a red cloak, and I then went, here you go, and then you're like assuming that you knew the story of Red Riding Hood, and it's like, that's assuming a lot of information.
And you know what they say, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
I thought it was you and I, but either way.
No, because the word assume's got ass, you, and me in it.
I don't know.
Do you remember when Activision used to be called that?
No. Right. So what's your thoughts on the game then, Rich? Because I've taken up most of the time.
I think it's alright. Definitely give it a whack.
So yeah, that's been Grey Skies, War of the World story, and I've been Deck, and he's been Rich, and that's all we have time for. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.